It was up to everybody out there. Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable Talk. I am your host, C Money, and in today's episode, I'm going to talk about a topic that I've been want to talk about: homelessness and the epidemic of the homelessness in the U.S. Not just down here in the South Florida area, but also down here, also in across the country. What do I think about it? I'm going to talk about that. What do I think about how it's changed? What do I think about it during the COVID era? And a lot of things around it. And let's get to it. As homelessness, as you know, is not a good thing, but it's a thing that people, don't want to actually gain and don't want to actually go through. I know a couple of people, friends and non-friends, that have been through homelessness, and it's been like a crazy ass ride for them. And I've never experienced it myself, but based on what I've seen through other people, and I've seen what other people have gone through, it's like I've lived it. And I'm blessed to say that I haven't been, going through that situation, but I do send my prayers out to anybody out there that has, as family members or anybody that has been through that, or if you've been through it yourself, I send my prayers out, because that's not a feeling you want to go through. A lot of homelessness goes to, there are maybe 5 reasons, close to 5 reasons why people go through homelessness. Number one is the loss of income, meaning that you lose your job and you don't have bills, and you got your bills to pay and stuff like that, and trying to find a job is, within the time to pay your bills. If you lose your job let's say you lose your job in the middle of the month and you don't have enough money to pay your bills, then it goes. Or if you lose your job at the beginning of the month, you may have your bills paid for this month, but what about next month? And then hard to find. Number 2 is the crack epidemic. A lot of people go using crack, and crack takes over their life to the point where they lose everything to crack and cocaine, and a lot of these things factor out with crack and cocaine or whatever. Number 3 is the cost of living increasing. Now, like in South Florida, now it's kind of, even in the urban areas, the ghetto hoods and neighborhoods and the black areas, now it costs you two times more than what you normally would pay, and to live. And a lot of people, they can't afford where they stay and live, to the point where, they can't afford nothing, and then they try to move into other areas, into other buildings, into other locations, and then it end up becoming where they can't afford to move because you had a set price where you were staying at. Then your rent goes up, and then you can't afford that rent. Now you try to go somewhere else where the rent is about the same or even more. So that's another factor with that. Number 4 is basically, it's due to, number 4 and 5 is basically on the same, COVID reasons and stuff like that. But there's mainly 3 reasons. Number 1, you lose your job. Number 2, you lose everything to drugs. And number 3, cost of living going up, And a lot of things that are happening to a lot of people is basically, man, since COVID, I know a lot of people have lost a lot of people have lost their places to live, and lost, their living places and stuff like that. My rental company that I rent from, to, they told people, if you lost your job, we'll work with you in making payments and stuff like that. But a lot of rental companies wasn't like that. Down here in Miami, the homeless epidemic is really bad, because, as you know, the cost of living goes up more. A lot of people think of Florida as a retirement state. Back in the 80s and the 90s, Florida used to be the retirement state where a lot of people from New York and other states, they say, oh, we're going to retire and move to Florida. There was several episodes on the TV show Seinfeld where Jerry Seinfeld, his family moved to his parents moved to Florida and they moved to Boca Raton, and Boca Raton was basically like the premier retirement area for a lot of people. I'm going to move to Florida and go to Boca Raton and Palm Beach, because Palm Beach was like the premier city or county, I should say, where everybody retired moved to. Then after a while, Florida still is, well, it's not kind of really the retirement state. Florida is like the tourist state now, because what is the biggest city in Florida that attract most tourists? Orlando, because you have a lot of theme parks and a lot of, places where people go to, and it's a lot of things out there. So, and because the top three cities in Florida is Orlando for its theme parks and for its tourists, a lot of theme parks. Miami, because it's like the party city, and Fort Lauderdale for its beaches. Miami, you party, and Miami got beaches too, but Miami is more party. Fort Lauderdale is more popular for Fort Lauderdale Beach and all that stuff. So it's a lot of things. But down here, the cost of living has gone up increasingly with over the years. In areas I've lived in, because I've lived in about 3 or 4 different areas, and not only the areas I've lived in, but I've been in other areas and I've did research. A lot of these areas now, even in the black urban areas, you have areas like, you have Liberty City, you have Overtown, you have Miami Gardens, you have Opelika, you have, predominantly black areas, that you go there. It's not just about the crime, because a lot of people, for Liberty City, they see, oh, I've seen it on First 48, I've seen it on this and the crime. It's also about the cost of living. Nowadays, to live in Liberty City, you got to be paying $700 to $800 just to live in Liberty City, and I'm sitting up here like, that's too much to live in a supposed to be low income neighborhoods, because Liberty City is not a city, it's a neighborhood. And I've seen people that are paying close to $1,000 to stay in Liberty City. I'm like, that's a lot, and where I live at, in my apartment complex where I live at, we're paying regular price because we've been there for long, but the new tenants are paying probably $200-300 more than what we're paying. And I'm like, to live in, and I'll say that if you live in Liberty City, like, why would I stay somewhere where it looks like it was built in 1980, but I'm paying 2025 prices, and it's only, 2022? And a lot of people are saying, and I've been seeing this on social media, and I've been seeing this around the different social media platforms, you're paying 2022 prices for 1980 apartments, meaning your apartment looks like it has not been upgraded to a 2022 apartment, but you're paying 2022 prices. A lot of people are saying you're paying for a $300 apartment that looks like it's worth $300 and $400 when you was paying when you're paying 2025 apartment prices. The $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. I'm like, that's serious. When I back in 2005, I believe, I had a 2-bedroom apartment, and it was in a black urban area, black neighborhood, urban area. And at that time, I was paying only $475. And in 2005, that was kind of okay. Only thing is, I had to pay for my own water. I had to pay my own utilities, water, lights, stuff like that. Because, now most apartments that you get, water is included. But you do have very rare apartments where you have to pay your own water. Because, down here, water, you only, water is only every 3 months. It's not nothing but like $60, $70. It's nothing, because you don't run your water all damn day. And when I eventually they went up $100 more, which became $575. And I was like, that's a little bit too much to stay in a place that, is in an urban hood, and, it's not an up-to-date apartment complex and stuff like that. So a lot of these people are trying to get away with trying to tweak stuff like you go to these apartment complexes where they'll paint the wall and then say, okay, you're paying $100 more than what it originally is, but like, you just painted the wall. It ain't like you renovated the place. You know, I had a friend who doesn't live down here anymore. Was an associate friend, and they was living in the urban area. And the way that their apartment was set up, they renovated their own apartment to where, you know, the sink was a sink bowl. You know how most, modern day places have sink bowls. Like if you go in hotels, they have bowl. The sink is made out of a bowl and stuff like that. And they renovated their own apartment to where, you know, if the apartment manager or company come in, they'll say this is not how apartment looks. Their apartments are set up to be regular apartments, like you stay in the hood or something, but they renovated their apartment to make it look like theirs. So I was like, wow, that's nice. But they would have been paying 2022 prices if the apartment was renovated like that for all the apartments. So a lot of these places like that. And a lot of these homeless people down here, like in Broward, I don't see a lot of, for a lot of their Broward County, I don't see a lot of homeless epidemic, like homeless people on the street. Because I believe Broward has a more easier homeless, and the epidemic is not as bad as Miami. Like every day I commute to work, when I use public transportation and commute to work, I always see a line of homeless people. Most of the homeless people in Miami, they mostly stay near the downtown Miami area, and they mostly live under bridges because a bridge is more safer for them because number one, if it rains, they don't get wet, and then number two, it's because of the fact that it's more convenient for them. But at the end of the day, they always do a homeless sweep, meaning that the police and they have a county crew that comes out and they kick the homeless people off the street and they sweep them up off the street. And I'm like, why they always do that? And I always see that they have homeless shelters down here in South Florida, but the thing about the homeless shelters, a lot of the people don't want to abide by the rules, and I get it and I understand it. I know some people that was in the homeless shelter, and it's not a pretty penny. Number one, you're only in a homeless shelter temporarily, because a homeless shelter is only supposed to be a temporarily setting. You're supposed to be in there to get yourself together and get yourself out. And a lot of people don't want to get themselves together. A lot of these people, they're on government assistance or they don't make money and they don't want to go out there and look for a job. They feel comfortable in what they're doing. They get food stamps or government assistance, which is basically food stamps, or they get Social Security or whatever. And a lot of these people don't want to go move into another place because they don't want to pay bills. A percentage of them are drug addicts that are on drugs, and they feel as if they don't want to pay to go live somewhere, because as like I said, the cost of living has gone up in, South Florida. And a lot of other people also, they don't want to do it because they don't want to abide by the rules. You got to be in by 8 o'clock. Well, most of the homeless shelters down here, you got to be in by 8 o'clock. You can get a work pass, which is you can stay out past 8 o'clock, but you have to have, a legitimate reason to stay out by 8 o'clock. You can't say, oh, I want to stay out past 8 o'clock because I want to go to a bar and get drunk or something. No, they're going to look at it as if you got money to go buy a drink, you can have money to go buy a place. So a lot of them people don't want to abide by the rules, so they'd rather be homeless and do what they want to do and spend their money on themselves instead of buying by the rules. I've seen people that went inside homeless shelters that want to get better and want to get their own place. But, down here, a lot of these people like, I want to have fun. I want to snort my crack. I want to drink my beer. And, they can't, like, and then in the homeless shelter, it's like, you have to be your own security. Because I've seen people where, in most homeless shelters, and this is across the country, you sleep in a big room with like 5 to 10 people in one room. You're in a room with more than multiple people. It's not like you getting your own personal room. So if you walk out the room and you have stuff on your bed, now I said somebody steal your charger, somebody can steal something like a pair of socks, or, somebody steal something. So you gotta protect your stuff, because it's like finders keepers do, no, one for all and all for one. And I've heard stories about that. Somebody stole my charger, somebody stole this, because you don't have any secure spot to secure your stuff. because they're not expecting you to have a whole bunch of stuff inside when you come inside of a homeless shelter. So you come inside of a homeless shelter and you come in here like with a bag with stuff in it, then you better pray that you come out of the homeless shelter with a bag. So I've seen people go in there that say the homeless shelter is not the best place to be when you're trying to, when stuff. And I've seen people that look at it as like they don't want to go in homeless shelters because they have rules and restrictions that don't abide by you. But I'm like, every place you have to go have rules and restrictions because you can't just go in there thinking you could do what you want to do and come in when you want to come in. No, because they're gonna look at it, hey, go get your own place if you want to do that. And across the country, I've seen a lot of people who have lost a lot of their places because due to COVID within the past 2 years. And I always thought that it's sad to see that families are losing their homes to kids and stuff. It was just a day or two ago. Me and a friend of mine was walking through a park, and a friend of mine, we was having a phone conversation before we met up in the park because we was doing a daily walk. Because sometimes I like to walk through parks, to clear my head, and sometimes do power walks because it helps me with walking because as you get older, and you sit, because with COVID, when I ended up sitting at home for COVID, I was in the house. I wasn't going anywhere and everything. So when I returned to work and I started working, my legs started feeling the effects. Like my legs got into retirement mode. So when I started going back to work, my legs started feeling the effect as, oh, I'm getting older because I just, I wasn't, at home resting my legs. So I started feeling the effect. So what I do from time to time is go walking. Sometimes I go walk to a park and I give my legs walking because, my legs feel that pain, that effect that you've been working. So a friend of mine was walking to a park and and my friend was like, oh, this young boy, he's young and he was laying down in the park and he was homeless. And I was like, and I said that's sad to see a young person homeless, because a lot of these young people, and then there's another reason why a lot of these young people become homeless is because one of the reasons why I feel there's a lot of homelessness in young people is because homosexuality. Um, Years ago, in my younger days, I, I was mentoring a lot of kids. I was mentoring a lot of young people in my early adulthood, and I was mentoring a lot of people, a lot of young ones. And I had one person that told me their family don't allow him to talk on the phone, and their family don't allow him to, do certain things because he was a homosexual. And I've heard a lot of stories from a lot of people that say they got kicked out of their homes because of their sexuality. And I mentor straight and gay people. I've had mentors, so it's not like, oh, I was just mentoring gay. But I've let them know there are a lot of people that came out and they say that, oh, my family don't accept me because I'm gay, or my family. And a lot of these kids not just become homeless, but they also commit suicide. But that's not the topic of the story for gayness and suicide. But a lot of them become homeless because their family find out that they're gay. And back in the day, it used to be hard for a person under the age of 18 to come out because remember back in the day, in the 80s and the 90s, homosexuality was hard to come out because a lot of people was afraid and a lot of people was against it. Remember, I did a story a while back about Tevin Campbell and how, you know, when he came out, that the singer Tevin Campbell, they dropped him as an artist because a lot of people didn't approve of his sexuality, and it was that with a lot of other celebrities out there. When a lot of celebrities came out of the closet, they was like, okay, you're gay, and they dropped him sexual. Now it's more accepted because now you have Lil Nas X, you have Elton John, you have a lot of these celebrities that are coming, Billy Porter. You have a lot of these celebrities that are coming out now and they're embracing their sexuality. But back then, it was hard for any human being to come out, as a homosexual because a lot of these families disowned them. And a lot of these people who came out, their families kicked them out because they didn't accept them. So that's one of the reasons why a young homeless person, the epidemic for young homeless people is trending because a lot of the families don't accept them for who they is. Even with females, a lot of the females become homeless because they become whores and sluts, or they become prostitutes, and their families disown them because of the lifestyle they live, and they kick them out. And it's like, how do you cope with this homelessness? And not only that, a lot of veterans become homeless because it's hard for them to get work. It's hard for disabled people to get work because a lot of these disabled people, it's people at my job that are in wheelchairs and they work, and for most of them, it's not enough because they only can do certain jobs and stuff like that. So you look at it as if, what is the homelessness? What can we do about the homeless epidemic? We're now facing a coronavirus epidemic, but still, you still have this. A homeless epidemic has been an epidemic that's been going around for years, and you can only say that it's going to get even worse. Even with this coronavirus, it got worse with the coronavirus, because even though a lot of these landlords didn't have the power to evict you because of coronavirus, but it's getting to the point now, even now that they got the power to, a lot of these people are still not going to work because, like now the Omicron variant is out and the cases are going up. So it's like, how do you deal with homelessness? How do you deal with people who try to survive in this economy when everything is changing? Back then, homelessness wasn't heard of. Everybody, you barely heard in the 80s and 90s. You barely thought about homelessness. Now in the new millennium, a lot of homelessness in across the nation has been tenfold, and you've seen a lot of it. And now during this pandemic, it's a lot of homelessness. Homelessness is 10 times worse, because you have people that lost their jobs from over the years to where they can't afford to pay their bills, and you had some people that was living paycheck to paycheck that only made enough to pay their bills, so they didn't have backup money to, like, even down here, like, look at much the cost of living has gone up. I've seen projects that have been renovated and turned into $1,000 apartments, and I'm like, about 2 days ago, this was just the projects that you can only pay $300 a month, and now you have it where you're paying $1,000. So it's come to where a lot of these people have to reconstruct their life, and how can you survive in a economy where prices are going up every day? In New York, the minimum wage is what, $15 probably, and it needs to go up more, because I've heard and I've did research that it is impossible to live in New York and only make $8-9 an hour. I visited Atlanta, and I told you this in the previous episodes, that I visited Atlanta in 2019, and the cost of living in Atlanta is pretty good. The only thing about not Atlanta, in Georgia, period. Not saying Atlanta, because I know the cost of living in Atlanta is kind of like Miami, but it may be a little bit lower. You may be paying $800 in Miami, but you're paying like 6 or 7 in Atlanta. But in Georgia, in overall, the cost of living is pretty good. The only thing about the cost of living in Georgia is that you're not making as much money. Like in Florida, I know you make up to $10, $11, $12 an hour or so. And then in Georgia, you're making 8, 9. The most you're gonna make is probably $10 an hour. And I've had a friend who stayed in Georgia, and the cost of living there is nice, but it's just the fact that the actual living there is because I've heard that the public school systems, they only pay you once a month, and that's in certain areas. And I look at it as if you're only getting paid once a month, that means you have to pay all your bills all at once, and you gotta hope that you have money left over to buy groceries, to pay for other bills. You have car. Because in living in Atlanta, you have to have a vehicle. I mean, not Atlanta. I keep saying Atlanta. I'm sorry, y'all. Living in Georgia, you have to have a vehicle. Because when I went to Georgia, I visited Atlanta and I visited Albany, Georgia. And in Albany, Georgia, the public transportation system ends at 8 o'clock. And in Georgia, the public transportation system ends around midnight to 1 a.m., depending on the area. And I look at it as if, New York, 24-hour service. Down here in South Florida, in Miami, you get 24-hour service, but you only get 50 to 30% of the service, meaning the trains don't run 24 hours, and you only have certain buses that run 24 hours. In Broward County, you don't get 24-hour service at all. You get service up to 11 o'clock, maybe midnight, and that's it. In Palm Beach, after 8 o'clock, you're not getting no service at all, because Palm Beach, day service stops around 8 o'clock. So I look at it as if when you go to certain cities and certain areas, you're looking at it as if service is not, cost of living is not as great, but the transportation and the living situation sucks. You got to have a car to get around in Georgia, because after a certain time in certain areas, Savannah, Bainbridge, Albany, Augusta, you go to these Valdosta, you go to these places, and you say, how can I get around? The cost of living may be good, but then transportation wise sucks. And that's why a lot of people from cities like Georgia and all these places, that's why a lot of people that I've known, I've had friends and people that I've known, they say they moved to Atlanta, because Atlanta, they feel like, oh, you can make it as an African American in Atlanta. But I say, yeah, but look at the cost of living in Georgia. It's very low, but then the living is too hectic. You may be paying $200 and $300 for a house, but then again, you don't have no good transportation service. You don't have good, entertainment out there. I visited Georgia. It was boring. Unless you live in Atlanta, you're not having no fun at all. So the cost of living, and I want to know what's the cost of living in a lot of cities and states. I want to know, what do y'all think about the cost of living when it comes to your city, your state, and homelessness. Is the homelessness epidemic big in your city, in your state? Is the homeless epidemic? It's not big in Florida, but it is big in the South Florida area, predominantly Miami. And I want to know, how do y'all feel about the cost of living in your city or your state? I think not the cost of living, I'm sorry, the homelessness in your cities and states. I think the homeless epidemic is even worse than it was 10 years ago, because 10 years ago, one bedroom apartment only cost you $300 to $400. A two bedroom cost you $500 to $600, and maybe $700. Now a one bedroom costs you $600 to live in a one bedroom, and a two bedroom costs you anywhere from $800 to $1,000. And most one bedrooms cost you about that much. So I want to know how y'all feel about this homeless epidemic. Do you think that it's better? It's worse? And I'm not talking about just during the pandemic of this coronavirus. I'm talking in general, like before the pandemic in 2019, 2018, 2010. Has it gotten better in the homelessness epidemic, or has it gotten worse in the homelessness? And I believe it's gotten worse, because now you have the cost of living is going up every year. They're building newer and better high-rise condos, and they're wiping the black communities out of their homes, and they're wiping a lot of these urban areas and a lot of these projects out of their homes, to the point where you can't really find nowhere to stay, and the only way to survive in the community is if you're sharing an apartment with somebody else. Say for instance, if your apartment $1,000, you gotta practically have somebody living with you to pay $1,000 if you're only making $10 an hour. And for you to make $10 an hour and you gotta pay $1,000, you basically gotta be working 7 days a week. You basically you can't have no days off, or you working 8, 10, 12 hours a day to make up that money. Because if you working $10, only making $10 an hour, and your rent is $1,000, you got to be working 8, 10 hours a day, and working like 5, 6 days a week to make that money, because you still have food, lights, utilities. If you have a car, you have car note, car insurance. Even if you don't have a car, you have transportation costs. You gotta take Lyft or Uber or a rideshare program. You gotta pay for bus fares and stuff like that. You still have transportation costs, and you still have the cost of living. You still have food that you have to eat. You still have stuff. So it's kind of hard for a lot of people to adjust, and then that's why the homelessness epidemic, I think, is increasing. I want to know how you feel about this. How do y'all feel about the homelessness epidemic? This is a topic that's been on my mind for a while because I want to know how people feel about the homeless situation, even through COVID, before it, and during COVID. Email me roundtable00@yahoo.com. You can also comment at the bottom of this page. And don't forget to click on the subscribe button. And don't forget to check out our previous videos and let me know how you feel about our previous videos. And if you have any topic you would like to discuss, you can also email me roundtable00@yahoo.com. This is the Roundtable Talk. I am your host, C Money. I thank y'all for watching. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a good day.